un peu des psys, des babysitters, des punching balls parfois. C'est les agents qui ramassent la merde derrière.
Moi je trouve plus Elliot. Ah putain, ça fait une demi-heure qu'on cherche pas.
Hello, and thanks for joining us for Arts 24's weekly film show. From a thriller showing us the cutthroat world of French football to a rural drama about motocross enthusiasts, today we're looking at the best French language films of the moment. And for that, I'm joined by our critic, Perrine Quennesson. Welcome to the show.
Hey, hello, Eve.
Thank you for being here. And we're kicking off with Mercato, a film showing us that the beautiful game is actually pretty ugly behind the scenes. It stars an emblematic figure of French cinema and comedy, Jamel Debbouze, and he's not the most obvious choice for this genre, is he?
Yeah, exactly, because in France, when we think of Jamel Debbouze, we usually associate him with laughter and comedy rather than thrillers, as he's one of the greatest comedians of our times in France. So that makes it all the more surprising to see him play a football agent who has lost everything. He has just 7 days to save his skin. So let's take a look at the trailer.
Je suis agent de joueur. Les agents, on est aussi un peu des psys. Des babysitters, des punching balls parfois. C'est les agents qui ramassent la merde derrière. T'es un des plus grands joueurs de l'histoire, tu te caches. On m'a quitté le PSG.
Quoi? Mais de quoi tu me parles, toi?
C'est pas pour moi que je suis là, c'est pour toi, frérot.
Tes 10%, c'est pour le reste du cœur, alors.
Tu nous dois 300K.
300 000 € où? J'ai plus d'oseille, je suis à sec depuis belle lurette. J'arrive plus à rebondir, j'y arrive plus. Depuis que moi tu dis m'a largué, plus personne me parle.
Faut que tu te réveilles, Driss. Le football, il a changé. T'as plus les codes.
So we can see it there, Perrine. Mercato is more of a behind-the-scenes football thriller.
Yeah, far from the lively atmosphere of stadiums, Mercato is a thriller where the world of football collides with the ruthless culture of money. Driss, the main character, is a somewhat washed-up agent who owes money to some very dangerous old friends, I would say. The film fully immerses his body and soul into his anxiety as a disillusioned anti-hero, and the pace of the movie is relentless. The atmosphere is suffocating, thanks in large part to the tense electro soundtrack goes throughout the movie. It reminded me actually of the Safdie Brothers' Uncut Gems, and actually it's high praise to say that.
And like Uncut Gems, which starred the great comic actor Adam Sandler, Mercato also takes the bold step of casting a comedian in the main role.
Yes, and it's a brilliant choice because Jamel Debbouze not only makes Mercato appealing to those who aren't necessarily football fans, but he also bring the right amount of humanity to this anti-hero navigating a cutthroat world. And this is largely thanks to the work of the writers who were able to incorporate the actor's excellent comic timing to his character while leaving room for emotions. And speaking about the writer, Mercato is a movie by Tristan Segala, but it's written by Olivier Demangel and Thomas Finkielkraut, the creators of the Netflix series Tapie, about French businessman Bernard Tapie, who won a BAFTA last year. So everything was in place to make Mercato a success.
OK, well, that's Mercato. And far from the world of football then, Perrine, you're now going to take us into the heart of a French family with Corinne Tardieu's fifth feature that's called The Ties That Bind Us. Tell us more.
Yes, and that's the beauty of French cinema right there. Its incredible diversity of genres and tones. And this time we dive into a deeply moving family drama that premiered at the 81st Venice Film Festival. Let's take a look to the trailer.
Excuse-moi, j'ai perdu les os. Comme tu m'avais dit que pour 1 heure ou 2...
Moi, j'ai dit ça.
On fait la course?
J'ai pas envie de faire la course, vas-y, toi.
Tu connais rien au petit garçon. T'as pas d'enfant.
Je vais me préparer.
Qu'est-ce que je fais, moi?
Je sais pas. Tu veux faire un dessin? Bah, ça veut dire quoi, ça? Oui ou non?
Il faut que je te dise quelque chose de très triste au sujet de maman.
Elle est morte.
Ouais.
Gosh, it seems very emotional, Perrine.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. I was like almost crying there. The Ties That Bind Us explores those who remain when everything else falls apart, those who take on a vital role in our lives without us even realizing it. It's deeply moving. It's the story about shared grief. Sandra, she's a tough, childless woman. We just saw her in the trailer. Suddenly, she becomes the pillar of a mourning family, and somewhat reluctantly, she discovered that attachment can be a source of warmth and solace. The film beautifully redefines the meaning of family when we embrace tenderness.
Okay, and it also has an outstanding French cast directed by Perrine Quennesson.
Yeah, to bring this deeply human story to life, talented actors were needed. In the role of Sandra, we have the dynamic and intense actor and director Valeria Bruni-Tedeschi that we saw earlier in The Divide or Summer 85, who brings incredible warmth and luminosity to this drama. And there is Pio Marmaille, who we just saw in The Three Musketeers, delivering a deeply moving performance as a broken man, navigating single parenthood just after the death of his wife. So, in fact, he's talking about it and he's telling it way better than I can. So let's hear from Pio Marmaille.
It felt good to explore something I wasn't necessarily used to doing, and actually, yes, it's a bit therapeutic. I really like the idea of this particular family. It offers a very contemporary view of what a father's role is today. It took a lot out of me emotionally, but it was fulfilling.
There we go. That was the actor Pierre Marmaille talking about his role in The Ties That Bind Us. Next, then, human relationships are also central to Saïd Hamish Benlabi's second feature, Across the Sea. It premiered at the Cannes Film Festival last May. What's it about, Perrine?
Across the Sea follows Noor, the Moroccan immigrant who arrives in Marseille in France in the early 90s. It's a film that delves into the experience of exile, all set to the captivating rhythms of right music. Let's take a look to the trailer.
قول لي شحال جانا كنت فارح وكان عندي كل شيء الشهور تحمل 10 سنين مادام اليوم يجي الموت مادام pour le mari madame personne ne bouge toi mets-toi sur le ventre Oujda Maroc s'il vous plaît monsieur ne me renvoyez pas Salve Je sais même pas ce qui m'a pris de te ramener chez moi, c'est totalement interdit. J'ai parlé à ma femme, tu peux rester chez nous, une nuit ou deux.
T'es bien installé?
There we go, Across the Sea. And as you mentioned, Perrine, this is both a film about exile and a deeply personal story, as the director Saïd Hamish Benlabi told the France 24's French arts programme.
I left Morocco when I was 11 years old. I arrived in France and I've been here for quite a few years now. What interested me in this film was the question of exile. I remember thinking that exile isn't necessarily easy to explain, and it's something that settles within you, something that's constantly with you, but not entirely separate. With this film, I'm trying to, well, I'm not telling my life, it's not an autobiography, but I'm trying to convey the feeling of exile because it's a small thing. I try to touch upon it to make the audience feel what the feeling of exile might be.
There we go, the director talking about his personal link to the film. Did it resonate with you, Perrine?
Yeah, it's a breathtaking movie, both powerful and deeply personal, as we just said. Across the Sea is the story of both an inner and physical journey spanning both sides of the Mediterranean. But it's also a story of belonging as Noor arriving into Marseille, singing a new family in an underground world where he will find a place and a new understanding of the world. The film carries a quiet intensity underscored by rhyme music that embodies both celebration and melancholy. It's a brilliant film set in the 90s, yet very, very profoundly relevant today.
OK, that's Across the Sea. Finally, then, you're going to take us into the world of motocross with Block Pass. Now, that is from Antoine Chevalier. It's his debut feature, which also premiered at the Cannes Film Festival in May.
Yeah, and as we've seen recently with Louis Courvoisier, Olika, or Julien Colonnade, The Kingdom, young filmmakers are increasingly stepping away from Paris to tell stories rooted in their own backgrounds. This time, Antoine Chevalier takes us to Angers in western France to explore rural youth through the moving Frenching between two young boys, Willy and Jojo, two motocross enthusiasts. While this feature, it's the first feature from Antoine Chevrolier, is far from a newcomer because he previously directed several episodes of the series The Bureau, but also the series Ousekine, which is available on Disney+.
And there are also some familiar faces in the cast, including Artus. Now, he's the actor-turned-director who had last year's biggest French box office success with his debut film, A Little Something Extra.
Yes, and just like Jamel Debbouze with Dr. Lear, here he's playing a role that is far removed from the comedies we usually associate him with. Block Pass is a story of deep, powerful male friendship, beautiful, tender male friendship, but it also tackles multiple themes as mourning, homophobia, the weight of rumors and social rejection. It's really deep, and the film also features young actor Saïd El Alami, who previously starred in Ousekine, the series of Antoine Chevrolier, but also more recently appeared in And the Children After Them, which won an award at the Venice Film Festival, all festival, Cannes, Venice, every festival, because great movies. So, and Saïd El Alami is clearly one of the rising stars of French cinema.
Okay, one to watch then, Perrine. Thank you so much for joining us today to share your French picks of the moment. Well, we're going to leave you with a look at Block Pass. Thanks for watching. See you next time.